So 561 Music now has a hotline. You can call us anytime at 561-203-9122 and ask us any questions you like. Some humorous ones or something about the guests we've had on the show, or questions about gear, or questions about the festival, or anything you like. It's, of course, 561-203-9122. We would love to hear from you. We did a pretty fun little message, so you get to hear that too. Even if you just call up to listen to me and Hector trying to do a good phone message, that's a good enough reason. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch. Hi guys, I know everyone says this on every YouTube channel, but please, could you like and subscribe to 561 Music Podcast? It's a local music podcast, and all we're trying to do is help local musicians get some exposure. So if you could like it, subscribe it, and also hit the notifications button on the episode, we would really, really appreciate it. And if you're feeling generous, you could subscribe to the Spotify as well. Thank you.
Take it by the scene, it's what we're doing. Come and check it out, it's what we're all about. 561 Music!
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
And how are you doing, my good
I'm
man?
doing fantastic,
That's
man.
what
How
I
are you
like.
doing?
That's what I like to hear, man. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording, but everything's just so insanely busy lately, isn't it?
It's been crazy, man. Like I feel like we're not in season, but it feels like we are. I feel like everybody's busy. All the businesses I know, everybody I know that runs a business right now has been busy. James is busy at the salon. I've been busy with the photography. You've been busy with our recording and stuff. So yeah, it's been nuts, man.
Yeah, just like breathlessly busy. I think it's all. A lot of people have moved here, Yeah. It's just, in general, there's just more going on these days down here.
They should all just go home. Is that what I'm hearing?
Including me.
I mean, Nah, you're all right. You're all right. Yeah.
So yeah, this weekend we played at the Kilted Mermaid in Das.
Yes. Kilted's always a blast, but it was especially fun this weekend because he has an upright bass that he's trying to part ways with, and it may have found a new home in my house. And so,
so what we're going to do is we're going to go up there and play 3 times for nothing, and then you get the bass.
Yeah, and then I get the bass, and then I tell you guys that I'm going to pay you, but I don't pay you, and then you guys essentially buy me a bass. So that's the MO. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, the truth is, it's such a cool thing getting a new double bass that I might even be up for that.
Dude, it's nice. It's like the one I have now is black and everything. This one's all blonde. It's just really nice.
Yeah,
it's an Engelhardt. It's a really nice bass.
That's sick. And but it is a lot to have multiple double basses because they're so big. But ultimately, it's what you use it to make your living. So only having one is a pretty precarious situation.
That being said, I still have a bruise here from when I told my wife that I had just bought another bass. So it is what it is.
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, she was unhappy about it. But.
Oh well, it's all right. You could sell one of your other ones. I know you're never going to do that.
No, that'll never happen.
So we have Young Cassidy here with us today. How's it going, guys?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Good.
Yeah, all right, nice one. So we got Daniel over here next to me, and he's on guitar in the band. Then we got Mike there, and he's on bass, and then we got Alex over there on guitar, and Raul on the end singer. So thanks so much for coming up here. You guys came up from Fort Lauderdale, right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, wicked. I've been watching a bunch of stuff online and listening to stuff. Love the band, man. Everything's so sort of polished and just the look is right and everything, and the songs are good. You guys are slaying. You're awesome.
Dude, thank you so fucking much.
These guys have
appreciate it.
So much energy live. It's not even funny, man. I saw them down south. I don't even know the name of the place. It was in Miami or something, right?
Yeah, it's a new spot called the Citadel.
The Citadel.
Yeah,
the Citadel. I think it had something to do with one of the radio stations has it as like their performance lounge or something, but it's a good good sized stage and everything. And I saw these guys down there, and they blew the roof off the place, man.
Yeah, wicked. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it.
So much for saying that. That's awesome.
It was fun, man. It's the first time I've seen you guys live. It was fun.
So, where did you get your name from? I ask that question a lot, but I am genuinely curious. Where's Young Cassidy from?
So our first podcast asked that question, and I was like, I don't even know how to go about that. But basically, how it happens for many bands, you just go through a list of like all these band names and shit. And my biggest thing with it was two things. One, I just didn't want it to be like something that's easily searchable on the internet, and then you run into like a bunch of stuff like that. Because we were like, oh, Reaper, that's a cool name.
Yeah.
But then you look that up online, and it's like so many bands and so many band names with that stuff. So my brother sent me I'm a big like 1800, 1900s like gangster like fanatic when it comes to films like that.
Yeah,
and,
cool.
Butch Cassidy was something that I've always been following, and he was, it's cool because it's like, oh, he was a bank robber and all this stuff, but it was like kind of shows like rebellion and like not following the system. Yeah. So I thought the Cassidy name was cool with that, and then we just kind of were like, what do we just like attach Young to it, Yeah, that always works. Yeah. And we were like, yeah,
has a little bit of a
that.
sort of hip hop sort of vibe to it too. Yeah,
dude, that we get that all the time.
That's really funny.
Yeah, we used to start our shows with. We're Young Cassidy. If you thought you're at a rap show, you're at the wrong fucking show.
That's fine, but not in a bad way. I mean, I think it's awesome. So, all right, why don't we delve a little bit into how you all got into music? And let's start with Daniel here. What's your sort of story of how did you end up picking up an instrument?
Honestly, one of the first punk rock bands that I've ever seen was Green Day. Yeah. I used to watch a lot of MTV back in the day when they would do like Headbangers Ball and like all different kinds of shows that they had on MTV. And I saw a Green Day music video, and it was the Basket Case song, and I still love that song. It's like one of my favorite songs today. And when I saw them, I was like, yo, these crazy guys, like I have to be like them. They're amazing. Like they're so cool. So it was like one of my favorite songs. I also got into it through video games. Like I had said in like another interview, like with Crazy Taxi, if you ever heard the Offspring song on that video game, that was like one of my favorites as well. I also was really into like Slipknot way back when they did the Resident Evil movie. Yeah. They had made a music video like that was based on that movie, and it was so cool. That was like when I first ever started like playing and really getting into music and stuff like that. So
no, I can relate to a lot of that, like Green Day and the Offspring, especially when I was like 13, 14, and I'll show my age a little bit. It's like around when Dookie came out. Yeah. And I was just super into it, watching those live shows and being like, wow, I want to do something like that. And because punk had really been dragged into the mainstream around then, in the early 90s.
Yeah. So I heard the Dookie album like after I had discovered the Basket Case song on MTV, and it was one of the only albums where I thought like every song on this album is perfect. It's so good. Yeah, man. So I just I blasted that for years and years, still to this day. So it's definitely like one of my major influences in starting anything music. So
yeah, sick. Yeah. Did you have guitar lessons?
I did not. I'm self-taught. YouTube University right here.
Yeah, that's a lot of people graduated from that, man.
Yeah. For real. There's definitely instruments where the YouTube University's gone a long way with me, and a lot of guitar stuff too. I did have guitar lessons in my life, but tons of the stuff I learn now is off YouTube. It's great. There's so much stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bash lessons at all. I think honestly, like most of the great guitar players I've ever seen usually do lessons. Yeah. But I mean, like there's still a bunch of amazing things, like amazing resources you can still like do from learning.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah.
Were your parents into music and stuff, or did you kind of discover it yourself?
No, it's so weird. Like, the rest of my family actually grew up with like Spanish music or rap music. Okay. That's actually what I was into before I even started listening to punk. I was into hip hop, listening to like Biggie and Tupac and things like that. And so this style is completely separate from my friends and family, growing up and stuff. So.
Learn new things every time, we didn't know that about that.
So if you guys want to switch to pop, he's got you, man.
But like the band I was in years ago, Sonic Boom 6, was really a blend of like the fact that we liked punk rock, but we also liked hip hop. That was like what we were all about, and it was the same deal. I got into punk so. I was into it in the early 90s when there was that kind of explosion, and I kind of drifted away. I was listening to a bunch of different stuff. But Then I got back into it around like 21, 22. I don't know. I guess I joined this band, and then all of a sudden, we I was playing a million shows and starting to go on tour and everything, and I was like, all right, I just grabbed it by the horns and sort of went with it. But yeah, in the intervening time between those two kind of periods of being into punk, I would listen to a lot of hip hop and dance music, and then that ended up making what the band sounded like.
Yeah.
But Mike, how did you get into music?
I have a deep bloodline of music.
And let's hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, as Dan said, he doesn't, but music's been in my family as far back as my great grandmother and great grandfather.
Cool.
I do not know what they were into and played. They were in Italy.
Oh, nice.
But I know that my grandmother was a singer.
Yeah.
And my grandfather was a saxophone player.
Nice.
That leads into my father, who's a multifaceted musician. He started playing bass in high school. That's his main instrument, but he's a great guitar player too. Like, I remember being 4 or 5 years old. I think like the first song I ever heard was probably, there was two. One was Hot for Teacher by Van Halen.
Rock
I mean,
on.
my dad was always playing, he loves Van Halen, he loves Eddie.
Yeah.
He would play that in the living room, on the amp out of his cool fucking Kramer guitar from the 80s.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had a mullet when I was a kid too, because if your dad's an '80s guitar player, I mean, that's what was going on.
You gotta bring the mullet back. Just that's the answer right there.
Yeah, he was heavily into Eddie. He also loved Nuno Betancourt from Extreme.
Yeah.
He's a great guitar
Yeah,
player.
He's like a real shredder then. He can do it.
Yeah, he is.
Sick.
Yeah. So, Van Halen and Extreme were the first bands I've ever really heard in my life, I think.
Wow, that's like a baptism of fire. In terms of rock.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy too, Black Sabbath stuff with my dad. My uncle, who married into my family, is also a musician. So as a young kid, I was surrounded by both of them. My mom would go to work, so my dad would go to work. So me and my cousin would be at his house with my aunt or his dad during the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know all of the details back then, can't remember them all, but I was either at my house and we were fucking jamming all the time, or we were over there. And my uncle had a band called Assassin back in the 90s.
The Sass?
Yeah,
I love it.
Assassin.
Oh, Assassin. I thought you said The Sass.
The Sass is a great band name, though. Right?
Okay, Assassin, got it.
And I remember going to my first gig, which was his band's show. I don't know where it was. I know it was somewhere in Fort Lauderdale. And me and my cousin were blown away about what was going on there. The lights and the big Tama white 80s drum set with the fucking 3 or 4 rack toms, and the cymbals were super high, and the drummer wore gloves. It was the whole Motley Crue thing going on. And I was gravitated to the drummer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mikey's a drummer originally.
I play a couple different instruments.
Sure.
I guess I'm modest about it, but yeah. And I was like,
He's a great triangle player.
I was super stoked on that. And then my uncle and my dad did a side job, and the guy gave him the drum set as the money, as the payment. And one Christmas morning, never forget that morning, I wanted that drum set, and I came around the corner through the kitchen, cut that corner into the living room, and there was the fucking drum set. And every other toy that I got that Christmas, I could really care less about.
I know that feeling.
I went right to it and started playing with those red drumsticks that they gave me.
Isn't it just being given an instrument for like a thing like that, birthday or Christmas, is just the best, especially when you're not quite expecting it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
happened to me a couple of times. Even in my adult life, my father-in-law Peter is a very generous man, and a couple of years ago for my birthday, he bought me a bass. I couldn't believe it. It's a nice one too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
so
the best feeling, man.
yeah, it is.
This is when somebody they wrap up a drum set, but it looks exactly like a drum
Yeah,
set.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's all like every tom is wrapped
That's
up and
how I
shit.
was envisaging it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wonder what that is.
It's even worse when they wrap up what looks like a drum set, unwrap and it's like pots and pans. You're like, damn it.
That would have been my first drum set. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was just gonna bang on garbage cans. Like, I was so poor, like growing up. So I was like, I originally wanted to play drums, and I was just ready to just get every like garbage can, pot and pan, just smash the shit out of it. Like,
that's awesome.
yeah.
So how did you end up picking up the bass, mate?
Well, the bass was something that my dad tried to teach me when I was about 7. The drum thing was when I was like 4 or 5. When I was somewhere between 7 and 10, I remember him giving me his white bass, and the thing was huge, and my hands were so small, and I was just like, this fucking sucks. I hate this. And he's like, come on, right here, just play this root note and follow along. Like, I'm trying to teach, and I was just like, no, this is the worst thing ever.
For kids, it's tough. For
bass, and I was a little annoyed and unhappy with it, and I never touched it again, actually.
Wow.
Come to find out, I do play bass in Young Cassidy. Yeah, I mean, so I ended up picking up different instruments throughout my lifetime. But back to the point of everything that we're talking about, how did music come around in my life? Yeah, it's engraved in my family. It's in my bloodline. I was just reading the Dave Grohl book.
Yeah.
The first chapter. I can't recall specifically what it's called because I wasn't in my right mind, if you know what I mean, when I was reading it. But it's in our DNA. So
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I love that,
But
man.
I give it to my dad and my uncle for showing me this life, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, cool, interesting, unique, super fun experience playing
It gives
music.
you something to care about. It gives you something bigger than just the everyday sort of like humdrum sort of life. Like it gives you a higher reason to be alive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Gives you a raison d'etre. It gives you like
Gives you
a
a
reason
purpose.
to exist.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
We're lucky as musicians to have something that we found that gives us purpose.
Yeah,
So many
100%.
people we know, like they don't have that, and they're still fine. They're still looking,
Yep, no doubt.
We just
man.
kind of knew.
So, Alex, how did you find yourself getting into music?
Just growing up, my parents always had like classic rock, old school classic rock on the radio, good old school R&B.
Yeah.
So I was always like playing air guitar to that as a kid. And then no one in my family plays, but just getting into middle school, high school, and just wanted a guitar finally, and got into it by myself, self-taught, and
Nice.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So, what about you, Raul? What's your musical story?
So we had a cousin that had a drum set. I'm a drummer. There's like 70 drummers in this band.
That's great.
So
There always are, man.
right? So we, unless once you're trying to find a band, then there's never a drummer.
Yeah.
Once you start a band, then there's never a drummer. But so he had a drum set at his house, and like we'd go to like family parties and stuff, and it was just a bunch of old people being boring. So I would always go upstairs, and he had the set there, and just started messing around with that. That led me to really become a drummer, and then my brother at the time, he's like 4 years younger than me. He's the drummer, but he's not here now. He wanted to start picking up drums too, and I was kind of like, no, dude, that's my thing, So what I did, I was like, yo, Dad. I told my dad, we went to this flea market one time, and there was a shitty guitar. Probably didn't even work. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I was like, Dad, you need to buy this for Gabe so that it gives us something to do together.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of went from there. Like, he was just playing guitar, and I was playing drums. I think I got my first... I was definitely a pots and pans kid forever.
Yeah.
And then I finally got the set, and that was pretty much the beginning of everything.
That's cool, man. My brother and I did the same thing. He was drums, I was guitar, and we just spent hours,
Yeah, it's a really good way to bond. Like, if you have like
Yeah.
a brother or a sister, even, like, you're just
Yeah, for sure.
like, now we could do this thing together, And so many bands, successful bands, are have that unit. There's always like a brother and a brother, or
Yeah.
a brother and a sister.
Yeah, very common, no doubt about it. So when it comes to songwriting process, when you guys are practicing, like who writes? Who sort of starts writing the song? Like, is there one of you that like writes more of the songs than others? And then also, how do you develop the song when you're writing it?
So I feel so a couple of us have like, you know, we've been into like the punk rock thing for a long time. Like Mikey, for example, Mikey's OG. He's played in a bunch of punk bands, and
Cool.
I do my thing with it too, you know. And so when it comes to songwriting, I'll bring like an idea.
Yeah.
That's like very raw and just like a lot of emotion and feel.
Sure.
And I take it to my bro, and my bro is he's like a big pop dude, so he could take something, because I don't play guitar, but I play enough to like write a song, you know what I mean? Power chords. And once I have an idea and a melody, I focus a lot on melody because I don't play good enough guitar. I just try to like, okay, it's the same 4 chords, but I could do so many vocal melodies to them, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll bring that to my bro, and then he just kind of like picks it up, and he's a great guitar player, and he just kind of like tunes it up and makes it like what it is, you know?
Nice.
But there's always ideas coming from everywhere. Like I'm always like, dude, if you guys have any ideas, because you know, like I'm only one mind.
Sure.
You know, there's definitely a sound that we've like curated into, but it's always going to be a little bit different when somebody brings an idea. You know, like this last song that we're about to put out soon. Like Mikey came up with that song.
Right.
He understood where we were going with it and understood the sound and just brought it into the playing field, and we were like, oh, this is perfect. You know, so. For the most part, I would say, like, you know, it's me and my brother, but there's always, like, that one song that can come from any of these guys, you know?
Yeah, wicked,
and then we
man.
just all take it.
So, what about, like, the recordings sound really, really good. How are you getting those done? Are you going to a studio, or is it, like, home recording stuff?
So that's back to my brother, he's not here, but he's our drummer, but he's fucking way more than our drummer. So he, you know, he's done a lot of producing and stuff like that, so... He has a little studio, and we just go in there and we record everything there.
Nice.
Once we have a solidified like song, then we send it out to mix. We're still testing people out. There's 2 guys that we kind of really work with, and you know they're able to like just take it to that next level.
Sure.
But we're always shopping, you know, because a producer could do so much for your song. You know,
Yeah,
they
can make or break it.
Yeah, they can make or
Right.
break it. You know, 100%. And you know, there's times where we're like, we're trying, you know, we're all into like this like 90s, 2000s kind of sound, but still want it to be kind of very polished.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for that person that's just going to be like, you know, like, damn, dude, like this song is perfect. So there's songs that are bigger songs that sound more like stadium rock songs.
Yeah.
And we'll go to the specific dude. But if we have a song that just feels raw, then we go to this other dude, you know?
I got you.
And he kind of like, they just find the feel. But
Yeah, nice.
So to answer the question, we record everything and then we just send it out.
Yeah, and it's good to find some stuff out, because I feel like, especially with the mix, you can get too close to it, you know?
Yes.
I mixed our last album, but it was really hard because you're just so close to it, you start not being able to see the whip of the trees. And, you know, I ended up being pretty proud of it, but... now I listen back and I'm like, oh no, that was pretty good. But because I'd worked on it for so long, all I could hear was the mistakes.
100%,
You know?
100%. Yeah. It's crazy how like something, once you like put it out to the world, it glues together like in your ear. You know, when you're listening to the mix, you're like paying attention to every single thing.
Yeah.
But if you let it go for a while and you listen to it back a couple, like I've been listening to like our earlier songs. We have 4 songs out, but you know, our first song we recorded probably like about a year ago.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that now, and like it just sounds so like how it's supposed to sound. You know.
Yeah,
Where if I
nice.
would have been listening to it like a week after recording it, I'd have been like, oh no, this is fucking weird. This is weird. This is weird.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because you're in like hyper analysis mode.
Yeah,
where
just
yeah.
too
you
in.
trained your brain to just try and pick things out.
I
at
do
that
the
point.
same thing with I do a lot of street art, chalk art, murals, things like that, like 3D stuff, and there's almost every single time, like you can almost count on it. As I'm doing it, I hate everything about it, and as soon as I'm done with it, I hate it even more. And then about 3 weeks later, I'm looking back at my posts on Instagram, whatever, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty badass. That was pretty good. Yeah, damn,
man.
I'm good.
It's crazy how important it is to just kind of let things go, because also you could also like doing that, you will just like keep working on it and over do it. You know, you're just like, oh shit, like, and then it's too noisy, too messy, too much going on. Sometimes you just gotta like let it just be, man. You know. And
No,
and
absolutely.
live from it.
And something that James, the banjo player in our band, says a lot, and he's right, is you got to let it rest in the mixing process. You got to be like, you got to leave it alone for a bit, and then leave it for like a week, and then come back and listen to it for that exact reason, because otherwise you're still kind of listening to it in this weird way. You know what I mean? You got to get that fresh ears.
What's
on
that saying that a song is never finished, it's just abandoned.
Yeah. And I found
Sick,
out
I've heard
recently that was it was Leonardo da Vinci said it.
So it was about artwork, which makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, totally. Because I say
I'm
that
never
like
done with anything,
I say
man.
that like 3 times a week, and then Corey, one of the guys who works here at LMC, he told me it was Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, I never finish a painting, and I just get frustrated and stop, and then it's just done.
You know what's cool is that a couple bands ago, I wrote this one song and I abandoned it like that. I was just like, it's whatever. But it's actually a song that we brought back to Young Cassidy now.
Nice.
Took the idea of it, the skeleton, and just made it something completely new.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, that song just was dormant for years, you know? And we were able to just like, okay, I haven't heard this in forever. I can see what was good about it, even though I hated it at the time. And now it's one of our songs that are out, so it's crazy.
Yeah, sick. How do you guys find the Florida punk scene? Like, would you say this music scene in general? Would you say that have you got any sort of comments on it? Like, have you found it welcoming?
100%. It's crazy because
That's awesome.
I've been doing music forever. I kind of stopped for like 10 years because I'm a videographer as well.
Right.
Once that started, I picked up video work from being in a band. I met a dude. He showed me a camera. I started shooting stuff, and then the homies in band started being like, dude, I'll throw you $100 for like a video. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? That's sick. And that just opened my eye to that, where I was like, I was kind of jaded about music for a while. And then I was like, damn, this is cool because I can still be artistic but make some money.
Yeah. Once
I did that, then, I stopped for a long time. And I had been part of like the whole Miami, like Churchill scene and all that, which was really sick at the time. But for some reason, it always felt a little like, what's the word? Like, it wasn't as friendly, When I got back into it like 10 years later, a year ago, we got welcomed in really, really good, man. Like,
nice.
I mean, the homies, they've been on here, Billy Doom.
Yeah.
I didn't even know these dudes. They just had heard some of our stuff and like DM'd us and were like, dude, we like what you guys are doing. Like, here's a list of shows that you could just like jump right on. And like, they basically kind of grandfathered us into the scene, and every single band that we've met in the community, like now, I would say like Lauderdale higher, because Miami's a little dud right now, has been like so sick, and it's shocking. My answer to him was like, "What's the catch? Like, why are you doing this?" He's like, "Dude, we just want to build a scene, like
Yeah.
Same reason you guys are doing this too. It's all about that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think they're a great band, good guys. Yeah, I was in a band with Andy for a good long time.
I was gonna say, there's been a lot of people on here too, a lot of bands that have that kind of same mindset as Billy does. Where it's like, everybody wants to climb to the top. But there's been a lot of bands on here that are like, why not bring everybody with us?
Dude, yeah.
There's no reason to be up there alone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a competition; it's a collaboration.
I definitely think there's a really cool shift going on, especially with like the sound of all our bands in general, man. Like, it's just like a history repeats itself. Like, it was dead for a while, and then it gets picked back up, and like I think we're just like in a good movement, especially like here in South Florida.
You know what? I agree, and honestly, everything that we've been sort of working towards with trying to promote stuff on here, it's nice. It's nice to see that there is a bit of a music scene flourishing, and I very much, I have no idea what part we play in that, if any at all. But it's just nice to see. You know what I mean? It's super nice
I'm
to
sure
see.
You guys definitely play a part in it, 100, man.
But I tell you what, it's nice to see, because that was why we started doing this in the first place. That's what it's all about. There's a lot of kind of talk of like sort of substance abuse and stuff like that in your songs. Do you have anything to say about that side of your lyrics?
Yeah, it's definitely I gotta, for myself, I'm speaking like it's a battle I haven't won yet.
Gotcha.
But what's cool about it is that it gives me a lot of our songs. If you hear them, there are a lot of them are about like just being down and out, which I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
And music, this band especially, like pulled me out of that. and also gave me an avenue to write these songs about those dark times, which is a great like method of like help like
For sure. It's
like
therapeutic,
rehabilitation,
yeah.
where you're like, dude, like, you know, yes, these are issues I have and I'm still dealing with them, but when you put them in a song, and if you listen to our lyrics, especially when it comes to like stuff like substance abuse, they're always trying to represent like, this is a problem I have, but it's something I'm trying to get out of, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's fine with moderation. I have a kind of a difficult situation with it, so I definitely explore it. Sometimes I have bad lows and I'll write a song about it, and then I have times where I'm just completely clean and I'll write a song about that, you know. But the musical journey has helped me out with it.
Yeah, no, it's helped me out with it too, man. You know, it's been important for me that it's been very therapeutic. I hear that, and it's a nice way to just, you know, they always say you feel better about something if you just say it out loud, you know. And writing a song about it is saying it out loud, super loud.
The cool thing about it too is that which I didn't see coming, but was I wrote these songs about my specific stories, but like to see people that are going through similar things reacting to those songs, and then now these songs are like a life force for them, you know, where like I've had kids come out to shows and be like, dude, like that song is literally word by word what I feel every day, you know. And that's a cool thing too, because then not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping other people that are just like, dude, I'm there with you, man, you know. Maybe I haven't won the battle yet, maybe I'm in a bad dark place with it, but like you're here, there's a fucking song about it, we could play it in the car, and like, you know, that's always a great feeling.
Absolutely. Who would you say that, like, when it comes to writing these songs, what did you have any kind of specific sort of influences? I mean, I can hear them in the music, but I'm really just asking for people watching and listening. Like, who would you say that your biggest musical influences are?
So my whole thing, like the way I got into punk rock music was I'm a skateboarder, right? Like that's my first passion forever was skateboarding, and skateboarding. When you watch the skate video, always had like, you know, like the element of skateboarding and punk rock is so together, right? Sure. So all these skate videos had like the dopest punk songs in it, and that was kind of like where I got into it, and those are my biggest influences. And then I say this all the time, but then the game Tony Hawk came out, right?
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and like, dude, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 especially, arguably has the best soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah, and it's a defined sound.
I don't even know if it's an argument.
Right? Right. So like, dude, it's such a defined sound of like a generation, and like I was just like, boom, like the day I got that game, dude, I went to a Pizza Hut not wanting to go, and remember when they would give out free demos for PlayStations? I had like one level. I was at this Pizza Hut, my parents made me go. I was like, man, I don't even want to fucking be here. This waitress came up to me. She's like, "You look like you're having a bad day. Here's a free sample of this video game." I was like, "I didn't even know what skating was, dude. I grew up in Nicaragua, which is a whole other thing." So I went home. I popped in the game. Dude, my life changed that day. Yeah. Not just because of the boarding, but also the music. So influentially, like if you hear Cassidy, I think the most influential thing to me wasn't a specific band, it was a specific sound. And to me, it's that. It's just like Tony Hawk Pro Skater kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, cool.
And it's cool because I've aimed for that, and like people have came out to shows and be like, dude, you guys sound like you should be on a Tony Hawk soundtrack. That's my favorite compliment of all time. Yeah. When people say it, I'm like, yes, we fucking nailed it. Like,
yeah, sick. Yeah. No, that's it, man. It's good stuff. It's ballsy punk rock. I love it. I'm really into it. So when it comes to sort of promoting the band and your social media presence and all that kind of stuff, who's dealing with all that stuff?
We all dabble with it, really.
Yeah.
What works is also that like I'm a videographer. Yeah. So that cuts a lot of costs. Yeah. Because I'm like shooting videos all the time for the band, you know, stuff that you'd have to like go out and pay for, you know. Sure. It's cool because video work and music is peanut butter and jelly, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so I do a lot of that stuff. But then Mikey also, he's really capable of all that stuff too. So he runs it as well.
Yeah, nice.
So when you're doing the video stuff, because I kind of run into the same thing. You know, I do photography and video and stuff myself, but I always find that I'm having to get somebody else to do stuff for us because, you know, not the editing necessarily, but the shooting and stuff. Because it's, you know, obviously it's hard for me to be playing a stand-up bass and holding the camera. But how do you handle that? Do you usually just put a couple cameras out on tripods, or what do you do?
No, I'll do like I'll hire a shooter, and but like the shooter's rate will usually be, let's say, he'll be a shooter editor, but I'll be like, all right, like what's just your shooting rate?
Just your shooting rate.
Yeah, because then I'll take the footage and I'll just put it together myself.
Yeah.
You know? But being in the business of like the video world, I have a lot of homies that do that, you know. So it's always like, kind of like, oh, like, dude, I'm working with
Good
people all
buddy
the
rating.
time. You know, I'm like, this is my homie. Like, I know you shoot good. So they hook it up, you know. And it's also
Nice.
like bargaining system, because a lot of times, a lot of people that are artists, dude, a lot of times they're not just like, they dabble in all sorts of art. So a lot of
Sure,
musicians do video, and a lot of videographers do music
Yeah,
as
totally.
well.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'll be like, dude, I'll shoot a video for you. You shoot one for me, and like, you know, we make it work. You know.
yeah, absolutely.
The cool thing about editing yourself is that I can take all the bad shots of me out. Because you know, like if somebody turns something in, you're like, oh shit, I didn't like that shot. Like it's a dope cinematic shot, but I might not like I don't know, there was something on my face. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah,
simple.
yeah, yeah.
But I like when I'm editing my own stuff, I'm just like whoop whoop. So I make myself look great.
That happens
Yeah,
to us.
yeah,
We have a girl that does like all our social media and stuff, and she'll come out to shows and she'll take little snippets of video and stuff for like the stories, the Instagram stories and stuff, and she'll take photographs, and she does. Shout out to Danielle. I mean, she does an amazing job with her social media, but like, you know, she'll take these amazing shots, but like you said, like, you know, there might be a shot where like I'm just like in a weird position, or it's like, you know, just like, oh man, I wish that gut was like not right.
Yo.
That
Yeah.
shot right there.
But like the
And I'm
framing is
I'm like,
amazing.
damn it.
Yeah. What's cool too is that it's actually helping my business out, because by meeting a lot of musicians, and I've basically done all the Young Cassidy videos that are out now, but by meeting a lot of musicians, they're stoked on them, and they're just being like, yo, like who shot that? And I could be like, oh, it was me. And I'm starting to get gigs with it. Like, so I just
Yeah.
did like Billy Dune's about to release a music video probably like in a month, and I shot the video.
Oh, you did? I've seen some of a little bit of the
Yeah,
footage.
it was cool, you know. So,
Yeah.
So that's always cool, because I could see that being like a thing where I'm like, yo, like we're on tour together. I have a camera. We're like on a 2-day off. Like, why don't we just go shoot a music video, you know, and get it done?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
sick.
So it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're right. You know, with the peanut butter and jelly thing, it's just another
Yeah.
kind of art form, and a bunch of people. You know, the people who are helping me put my music video together are in Spread the Dub. You know.
Yeah, which
So-
is connected. See, all those dudes we're all
Yeah.
so interconnected, man. It's really
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
There's so many musicians that I have on social media that that I know them from the music scene, but you know, in their profile pictures and stuff, they're all holding cameras and stuff. There's like so many. I mean, Meg
Yeah.
and Hunter and Jacob,
Jake,
and
yeah.
like it's just so many of them. It's crazy.
The funny thing is that too, like the reason I got into the band again was because I was shooting a lot of music videos, which is an amazing art, you know. But I had like that part of me that was like, damn, like I'm jealous of what they're doing.
Want to be on the other side
Yeah,
of the
I was
camera.
like, I miss doing that, you know, and like great
Yeah.
bands. And I was like, fuck, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try one more time. Like, why not, you know? And that's
No,
kind of how this
absolutely.
all started again. So,
Yeah. How'd you guys all get together? How'd you all meet?
so we've all been playing music forever.
Yeah, most of our relationship started decades ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
which is really cool, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of like, one of you guys was like, let's start a band, and then just kind of did it.
Yeah, Alex had moved to Lauderdale. I was in California for a while. Like that was, you know, it didn't work. It didn't pan out for me. So I came back, and I was just like,
There's
damn.
something about that in the song. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know, I kind of had hit a plateau artistically where I was like, you know, I was on a downer, and I was like, man, I don't even know like who the fuck I am anymore. Like, you know, like, and that made me think. I was like, when was the last time I was like in a good place? And all that kept coming to me was just like playing music, man. Like I miss doing that, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, why not? You know, like it had been 10 years I was out of the game. People knew me as like the video guy, you know.
Yeah.
So when I started this whole thing, people were like, what? I didn't even, like my girlfriend. Like I've dated her for like a long time, right? And 7 years, and she was like, I didn't even know you played music.
That's
And
awesome.
I was like, what? Like, and now she's like, what the fuck? Like that's crazy. So for a while I was jaded, and I found music again. I hit up Alex. He had moved to Lauderdale. We had played in a band together before. And I was like, dude, I have an idea for this. I know we're all a little bit older now, but would you be down to go?
Yeah,
And he was
yeah.
like, yeah. And then we played this house party. I had known Mikey for a while because he's OG. He's been playing in bands forever, but he was kind of not playing for a while as well. And he saw us at a show, and he was like, he calls me, and he's like, hey, man, I've noticed that you guys do not have a bass player.
I'm your guy.
And I was like,
Let me do it.
I was like, you're in, dude.
And I was,
yeah.
when I called him that night, I was like a little bit worried because I was like, well, I hope that he says yes. But, because I haven't talked to him in a little bit.
Right,
and
yeah.
I was worried.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
was just like, I can't believe you called me. There's something about what's going on right now. This makes sense, man. Fuck yeah.
Cool.
Fuck yeah.
I also knew Mikey's work ethic. I had shot a video for his band before, and I just knew that he had like that. Because there was two things that I knew I wanted for sure when it came to doing this again, and it was just like, I'd rather like somebody that doesn't play that well but has like the drive and like desire for it. You know what I mean?
sure.
And that was a mistake that I'm sure we've all made in our
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
Where like you like, you know, you got these dudes, and yeah, they might be sick players and stuff. Not to, obviously Mike is an amazing player, so I just won the lottery there. But they might be sick dudes, but they're just like not there. You know, like
Yeah.
like. And I was like, nah, dude, that's an easy cancer like for a band. Like I've been there, and I just want people that are like gonna give this as much as I'm willing to give it.
Yeah.
When Mikey called me, I already knew how he worked in bands, and I was like, he was like, you think I can try? I was like, nah, you're in.
Yeah.
I was like, you're
cool.
in, dude. I know how you go, dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was-
and that's exactly right. And I say it on this podcast all the time.
Yeah.
It's about the person, you know. You can learn how to play an instrument, you know,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
you can't teach someone to like not be a dick.
Well, you gotta
Right,
have that chemistry. You know, you gotta have that chemistry. People got to be able to, see you on stage and see that you guys are all clicking with each other, and that it's a family up there, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
if they look up there and they're like, man, you know, you're sick on the vocals and you're shredding and what. But you're all a bunch of dicks. Like
Yeah,
nobody's gonna want to see you guys.
exactly.
You know? It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And also, like each person represents like the family in general, you know. So if you have
Yeah.
like one dude that's an asshole, but he's out there being like, "Oh, I'm part of that,"
Yeah.
and everybody's gonna be like, "That band's probably a bunch of fucking assholes."
yeah, totally.
And it's not the case.
No doubt about it. Well, listen. On that note, I think it would be a great time for us to hear you play a couple of tunes. How does that sound?
I'm down for
Let's
that.
do it.
All right, let's do it.
1, 2, 3. I fucked up, got caught by my girlfriend. She walked in on me in the basement, getting high again. Well, I'm ashamed and I can't pay my rent. 'Cause every dollar that I'll make gets snorted up in vain. But I can't waste another day or night. I gotta get myself right. You see, I've been told that I'm a junkie, that I'm a loser. Bad news. They're not lies. So give me some time, and I will rewrite. Bad news. I can't help myself when she's not around. If I don't kick this now, I'll end up 6 feet underground. I'll clear my head and start over again. Go back to memories when I was a better friend. And I can't waste another day or night. I gotta get myself right. You see, I've been told that I'm a junkie, that I'm a loser. Bad news. They're not lies. Give me some time, and I will rewrite. Bad news. Bad news. Bad news. Bad news. Yeah, I'm bad news. This one goes out to all our ex-girlfriends. Like called your mom last night to give me some advice. She said, don't go to bed, man. And I said, you know, I can't do that. Fast forward and she's in my guts. But don't you worry, it was all for us. 'Cause I would do anything to be closer to you. And I'll do anything, like called your best friend hello, to get me through this run. She said that you don't like me, but I know deep down that you love me. Fast forward and I'm in her bed, wishing I was doing you instead. Cause I would do, I'll do anything, anything. I would do, I'll do anything to be closer to you. I'll do anything to be closer to you. And I'll do anything, like called your brother hello, just to say what is up. He said leave her alone, man, but I said, you know, I can't do that. Fast forward and she's in my guts, but don't you worry, it was all for us. Cause I would do, I'll do anything, anything. I would do, I'll do anything to be closer to you. Yeah, I'll do anything to be closer to you. Yeah, I'll do anything to be closer to you. Yep.
Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music. We are a local music podcast that is completely designed to promote and shed light on local music. And if you would like to be a part of that, we're looking for sponsors. So you could have your ads in the episode and in all the show notes, and we will read you bespoke ads, or you can write your own ads yourselves. If you want to find us, you can find us at 561 Music Podcast on the socials, or www.561music.com. We'd love it if you got in touch. Thanks a lot. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, so we just listened to an ad for Live Music Community. It's where we're sitting right now. So I wondered if you have any advice for upcoming musicians. And why don't we just go around the table and start over here?
Shit, man. Honestly,
No pressure.
Yeah, right. Nah, man. If I could even give myself advice, like growing up, like the best thing is just to practice, and never stop learning. Like never stop learning. If it for me, anytime that I thought that I knew, yeah, right. Like no way. Like there is so much more. I've been playing guitar for about 15 years now, and still there's still so many things that I need to learn, and just anything like that. Just trying to build your knowledge as much as possible and practice it as much as possible. Yeah. So, but yeah, that would be, I guess, the best advice that I could give an up-and-coming musician for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good advice. What about you, Mike?
I have a few, but I'll just say one, and it is to be open-minded about music in general, different genres, different influences. At my age now, I'm happy that my mind expanded, but and I know it's hard when you're younger. Yeah. You're very close-minded, and you got your clique and your homies and the stuff you love, and everything else sucks.
Yeah, sure.
But, be open-minded, give things a chance, and it'll change everything, because in the future you're going to find different things that open up, and doors, opportunities, people you meet, and you want to be prepared, you know, and it's always good. It helps everything in the long run.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Just I think the concept that like whole sections of music could just be sort of written off as bad is it's small-minded. There's good and bad music in just about every extreme of any direction you could go in music, and I did a classical music degree. I don't really use that much anymore, but I've been around the block in terms of music myself, and I 100% agree with that. Yeah. What about you, Alex?
I would say start as early as you can. Practice, never settle. And like what Mikey said, listen to everything. I listen to so many different types of music. Yeah. Open your mind up. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Raul?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that the most important thing is just to be true to what you want to do, what you feel, because the last thing you want to do is just play something just because somebody said it's cool, Yeah. You got to play what comes from your heart. With us, when we started Cassidy, I was just I'm not aiming for anything. I'm aiming for what comes out of my heart, And I think that when you're young, that's hard to do because you have so many influences coming from everywhere. But if you just stick true to what you want to do, the most pure music is gonna come out, Yeah, and that's what makes something original, just to be out of your soul. And the other thing too is just even if you're not young, just do it, because there's no age limit to music. The cool thing about art is that you can do it for life. It doesn't matter what age you are, and even if you're I don't know, man, you could be 70 years old, you pick up a guitar, and I know it's intimidating, especially now with social media. You get online and everybody's amazing, but it's still not going to be you, everybody has something to say, everybody has something to express, and it's going to be original in some sort of way as long as you keep true to yourself.
I agree with that. I find a lot of peace in that, actually. That's something that I really love about it, is that there's no... it's like the blessing and the curse of it, because there's no end point, it's just, it becomes who you are, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then you'll find your sound. Like, we had no idea what our sound was going to be, and, like, now it's like, oh, shit, like, it's starting to feel, like, curated. That's back to, like, you asked me about the band name. The band name at first had no meaning, it was just like, what does this mean? And now when I think of Young Cassidy, it means us,
Yeah, dude.
And that's always a really cool feeling to, like, see like something come into fruition like that, where it's like, this is we're creating something, it's unique and it's ours.
Yeah.
You just said something a minute ago about, it's like who you are or whatever, but I don't even know where I saw it, but just recently I saw something that said, art and music is not what you do, it's who you are.
Yeah, it's the thing I posted a couple of days ago.
Yeah. And that is 100% true. 100% true.
I'm pretty sure everybody sitting at this table is a lifer, man.
Yeah,
we're doing this for life.
Yeah. I wish I wasn't. But.
That's a whole other conversation right there. But
I keep trying to quit the band. Ben won't let me.
So that's funny, man. Could you tell us a little bit about what the songs that we just heard are about?
Yeah, so the first song that we played is called Bad News. It's the first song we ever wrote, and that song has to do a lot with, like, substance abuse, because before I was playing with these guys, I was kind of just, like, vagabonding around, just doing a lot of stupid shit, a lot of drugs and stuff, and a lot of people that thought I had potential when I was younger started giving up on me, They were just like, oh, man, like, this is the guy that could have been something, but he's just lost, and I felt that. I felt that from, like, my family. I felt that from friends, and when I wrote that song, it was pretty much like a redemption song where I was like, yeah, maybe I'm having a bad time right now, but if you listen to the lyrics, yeah, maybe I'm having a bad time right now, but don't give up on me, because I have a lot of more to give. And
it comes across really, really well. It's one of those songs where you understand what it's about the first time you hear it. It's very well
thanks,
written.
Man. Yeah, and that was an important one for me, because, like, just from, like, and that, the funny thing about songs like that, and some of the best musicians, they can't come out that genuine unless you're, like, in that moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you can go try to make a song about something that you're not really feeling just because it's a cool topic. It's not going to come across. But if you just do it because you're actually going through a situation like that, whatever the situation may be, like, your heart's going to be on there, And I feel like that song really captured that time in my life.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of the songs that spoke to me the most. Like, it was one of the first songs that I heard, like, entering this band. And, like, like you said, like, it's something that he's going through. But, like, for me, like, I could say I was going through the exact same thing. It really spoke to me, like, a lot. So, yeah, man, it's like, but yeah, it's like how you say, man, just if it comes from the heart, that's just, it's going to speak not only to you, but to everybody.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for people who can write music that doesn't come from the heart, because I just don't really know how to do that.
Dude, right? Like, the dude that's, like, writing Britney Spears hits is like, like he's listening to, like, Slipknot, like, he's just a badass writer. Like, and there is people like that,
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
Yeah, not me though.
And then the other song, as much as we try, we write, most of our songs do have, like, kind of like a deep meaning to them, but we're a pop punk band, so we do like to have, like, songs that are, fun and just kind of like, they don't have to be all, like, this dramatic ass thing, So Closer, it's just a song about, like, I'll do anything to be that one girl that I might have fucked up the relationship with, and, like, I'll go pretty far to do things for you,
Yeah.
So we definitely try to, have a little bit of both, like, songs that are really deep and come from somewhere, but then again, sometimes you just want to have fun,
Yeah, sing a song about a girl. Why not?
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun seeing you guys play. After seeing you guys do the show down south in Miami, and you guys had, like, unbelievable energy, and it was ridiculous. And then to see you guys, like, strip down acoustic like that.
Dude.
That was cool, man. That was a treat.
That's crazy, because
So I gotta ask, like, any plans for, like, an acoustic show?
100%.
Hell yeah,
100%.
dude! I would love to see that.
We have one coming up, actually. It's something that I definitely was interested in doing. I'm terrified of it.
Yeah.
Because when you have, like, your band and it's like, like, this thing that how to do.
Man, you're vulnerable.
Yeah, sure. Like, it's a lot easier, but, like, dude, just right there, I was like, oh man, like, this is a different feeling, But I do think there's two things about it. One, when you do have an acoustic set, and these songs, as much as they're, like, punk songs, they are pop songs, so they can transfer really well to acoustic.
Yeah.
and you also can like really focus on like lyricism and stuff like that. You know, people can really like hear the details of like the emotion going on behind the vocals and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good sign when it translates well to acoustic. You know, it means it's been put together properly.
A good song should be able to be played in any kind of form. You know, if it was up to Alex, all these songs would be country songs. You know what I mean? But yeah, we definitely have some acoustic stuff coming up. You know, we're excited on that, and it's also another good thing about it is. It's a good way for me personally to practice my vocals, you know, because I don't have to just be like, I can't hide behind the instruments. It's like, does this guy really know how to sing? Let's test it out.
No, you have a really unique voice. It sounds great.
Yeah, it was really good.
In the acoustic situation, it sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't we take we got a pedal we're going to take a look at of Mike's. Why don't we take a look at that? What's going on with this?
That's the Red Rider.
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
From Wonder Effects.
Yeah. What does it do?
It makes my bass tone sound magnifique. Yeah. I figured you guys were asked about if there was any effects or, you know, special gear that we kind of use. And I just got this pedal like a month ago, and I love it. So I figured I'd tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's made in Michigan, United States. There's an awesome guy called Nick Diener. He played in a band called the Swellers. And he builds all these pedals by hand. And this one specifically had a killer tone that I heard. And I'm all about sporting cool dudes. And I had emailed him, telling him a little bit about what I was trying to go for. And he was super kind, kind of gave me some direction. And I picked a Red Rider, and
That's
I
great.
love
You
it.
actually got in touch with the guy.
Yeah. I mean, so his band was signed to fucking Atlantic, Fueled by Ramen type of thing. You know, they were doing it for real.
Yeah.
But he's just like us. You know, he's down to earth. He's a DIYer, clearly. You know, and he transitioned out of music into building pedals, and he just launched his guitar company, which is also called Wonder Guitars. And I'm all about shouting out good people who come from the punk scene.
Nice.
You know, and this pedal's cool.
So
I
is
love
it the way you use it? Do you use it like with heavy distortion, or does it just give a bit of grit on there? Like,
Yeah, you just kind of like flavor the sound with it.
Gotcha.
I don't really push it hard.
yeah.
It's got a lot of capabilities. You could use it on guitar if you wanted to too.
Nice. Those sort of low gain overdrive pedals, they're just my favorite type of pedals. I just bought, I don't know, like my 10th one or something like that. I love
Yeah,
those kind of
it can
pedals.
get addicting.
Yeah,
for
so-
sure.
Ben has a pedal problem for sure.
Shit, man. Yeah, so we play with some of these bands, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what half of this shit does, man. It's cool too. There's a lot of good companies coming from like smaller businesses and stuff like that, you know. And they're made by musicians with true love, you know. Yeah. And like we live in a world where a lot of shit is just fabricated for numbers. You know what I mean? Everything is just put out.
More and more so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what have you guys got coming up? Is there anything people should know about in terms of like, you know, shows, recordings?
Oh hell yeah!
stuff
Well,
like
we got our first Revolution show coming up,
Sick.
September 21st, with our homies and Billy. That's cool for us because I mean we all grew up going to Revolution, seeing like some of our favorite acts out there. So just to be on that stage is gonna be cool. We're opening for Guttermouth. Which
That's
back
right.
to Tony
Is
Hawk
that
Pro
so
Skater, they
good?
were on the soundtrack, so that's like I'm so stoked on that.
At 1983 playing that show as well.
Yeah, 1983 is playing as well,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
sick. They're actually on the tour with them for
Yeah.
most of the Florida dates, which I was like, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah, that's why I wondered. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're stoked on that, and then we.
So it's Billy Doom, you guys 1983 and Guttermouth?
Yep,
What a
that's the
show.
lineup right there, man.
Yeah,
It's gonna be-
damn, man.
We're
Yeah.
stoked on that, man. You guys got to come out.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
We
it's
gotta
gonna be
get
sick.
Guttermouth on the passing through episode.
Dude, yeah, they're passing
there
through.
you
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Like they're still like they're out there doing it for years, man. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. So we got that, and then we were working on a West Coast tour. Right now, really though, we're just trying to like focus on putting music out. You know,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, that's what matters. You know, like yeah, we play all around the places and stuff, but I also don't want to oversaturate the same areas.
Yeah.
So we're trying to just get out, see if we can we did a little East Coast tour with the Billy Dudes, and that was a good time. It was like 10 of us stuck in a van, and we ended up like missing each other. So it worked out. The day after when the tour was over, I was like texting all the homies like, I kind of miss just smelling your sweat next to me in the van.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do. I don't do it as often anymore, but I used to do these events for the chalk drawings and the 3D stuff and everything. And so I would go away somewhere, and I have all these just like you guys have all these musician friends. I would have all these art friends that were from all over the country, all over the world, really. And we would meet at these events and then do these events together. Same thing, man. Monday would roll around, it'd be the last day, and then Tuesday we'd all fly home, and Tuesday night everybody's texting each other, messaging each other oh man, I miss you. We call it the art hangover.
That's perfect. It's weird to come back home after because touring life is hectic, dude. You're always just on, so to come back home, and I'm sure huge musicians go through this where you come home and everything's so still.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck do I do now?
Oh yeah, no, I can relate to that. That's for sure.
It's such a switch, and you just can't wait to get back on the road.
We are going away in October.
Oh shit.
Yeah, fun, doing a whole southeast, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, and I think South Carolina.
Oh, that's
nice.
Wow. Yeah. That's a run right
Yeah,
there. It'll
be about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, we really want to get out to the West Coast, man. There's good stuff going on out there. So
yeah,
the only shitty part about Florida is that we're just so removed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think about that a lot.
Just to leave the state is 9 hours, dude.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. We talk about that all the time. We're you leave the state and it's 9 hours. So it's 20 hours to drive to New York, but it's 9 just to get out of Florida.
Yeah.
So in another 11 hours, you can cross 15 states.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Where if you're in New York, Philly's right there, Baltimore, you could tackle a lot of scenes in a very close knit facility, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely right. Is it a little frustrating?
Well, that's part of why we're doing, in this tour. We're not really playing South Florida. We're playing Jacksonville is our only Florida date up north. Because then we can hit all these other states in a matter of days.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day we could hit a different place.
And then Europe is you're hitting countries every day.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
We're doing Europe next year too.
Yeah.
We're going to the UK.
You guys are packed up, man.
Yeah.
We definitely want to get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing Europe's a lot of fun. And for, playing punk, and you play these places that are squats, but they're nice. In places like Holland and the Czech Republic and things like that, and Austria, it's you'll be staying at a squat and you think to yourself, oh God, what's it going to be like? And you get there and it is just, it's luxurious.
They set it up. They know what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Also, I love playing places that look like shit. I'm obsessed with it. One, because I could just climb everything and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But two, it's just there's a lot of places that look like shit but sound amazing.
Yeah.
And I would rather that 100% than a place that is so beautiful, but then the sound is just
I feel that. Yeah, totally.
Well, we were talking about before the show. You need to be getting yourself a wireless mic, man. Because when I saw you, and everybody's telling me that that's pretty much your show every time. You're walking around and you're walking out into the crowd, and you've got this trailing cable. Dude. I thought somebody was going to kill themselves because it was a pretty good crowd moshing and jumping around and everything. I thought for sure somebody was going to trip over that cable.
Yeah. Do you know what happened? We played the show at Tough Times, which is it's kind of like our mothership. We love those dudes out there. Chalo takes care of us really well.
Been there a few times, man.
Yeah. And I just love venues that are run by a music lover, dude. You know what I mean? You could tell just when that place is just this guy loves what he's doing. So usually I'll be yo, dude, is it cool if I get on top of the bar, all this shit? But I was just in my thing, and the cable, everybody had drinks on the bar. And my cable just just fucking dropping, dude. And I was just yo, I'll pay for everybody's drink, whatever. He's nah, man, it looked cool. I was
that's punk rock right there, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That shit is sick.
And what we got coming up, Hector? We've got a few gigs. I looked at them earlier and now I've forgotten. We got
this weekend. We've got Carson's Tavern on Saturday.
Yeah,
I love playing that place, man. Up in Stewart.
Yeah, me too.
I love playing that place.
To sort of reverse a little bit, we've got Twisted Trunk on Friday.
Oh, yeah. This will be our second time there.
Yeah. I think if anyone's planning on coming out to a show, come and see us at Twisted Trunk because I'm gonna record it and Danielle's gonna be videoing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be a
So-
good way if you wanna be in a Killbillies live video. It'd be a good one.
In our social media feed.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. And then James and I are from 3 to 6 on Saturday playing at the Square Group.
Square Grouper, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
You guys got a packed calendar, man.
Every weekend, man. Every weekend. But it's like you were talking about earlier, you don't want to saturate the scene. So for us it's a little bit different because we play a lot of original stuff, but we also play a lot of covers. So we play every weekend, usually Friday, Saturday, sometimes more than that, sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And but they're like the 3-hour gigs, 4-hour gigs where we're playing a lot of covers and stuff, and then we're just throwing in every original we can wherever we
throw them
can,
in there,
yeah, which is always fun.
It's a way of doing it, I think does it sort of, is it necessarily the best way to go about sort of presenting yourself to the world and in terms of people viewing you as an original band? No, but it by the same token, we can live as musicians by doing that,
That's the dream.
We're making money, so
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no like cool thing about art is that there's no like path, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like you find your way to do it, and if this way works for some people, this way works for other people. It is what it is,
Yeah,
You're just
totally.
splatting on a page, man. Like,
Mhm.
there's no direction and there's no rules, which I love because I was never good at fucking following rules.
I was just talking to another band this week that same situation like you were saying. They in the last year they've played a ton of shows down here in South Florida, and they've toured a lot too. But they've done a ton of shows down here in South Florida, and they feel like they're just an original band, and they feel like they've kind of saturated the area with their music, and so they're going to take like the next year off from local shows and just focus on touring. And then so that when they come back in a year, people will be like, "Oh, I missed you."
Yeah, it's crazy because it's a good problem to have, but we get a lot of offers from bands to play the same kind of couple areas
Sure.
in the scene, and I'm like, dude, I hate saying no to people, So when I'm always like, oh fuck, like we just played Propaganda like a week ago, like probably not best to do it like the next week, and I'm always like, fuck, I hate it because like I want to play with all the bands, I want to play with like all these new people, especially when like somebody hits you up on a DM to be like, yo, I like what you're doing, dude, I would love to like be a part of your thing. You don't want to be like, nah, man, like I just play there, I want to play with you, maybe just not there right now, so I always have a little bit of trouble saying no to people, and it's
No, I
just
get
like,
it, man.
fuck, man, maybe like some next time,
Mm-hmm. I'm terrible at saying no. It's like
dude.
I've
Shit.
done
And it
both.
was up to me, dude. I love playing. Like we all love playing shows.
Yeah.
So I would be playing a show every day if I could,
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to just kind of step back, like focus, like I said, on like making music, and then just kind of come deliver it when
Yeah,
it's
you got to
time.
be sensible about it. You're right. Absolutely.
And you guys have a single coming out soon too, right?
Yeah, we have a single that we wrote coming out. It's called Paranoid. It's about just being in a weird fucking state of mind, and it's a bopper, man. We're stoked on that one,
Nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
So is there anything we need to tell everybody before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of like official stuff about the festival, but just those that know us and know that we've done a 561 Music Festival the last 2 years running. This is our third year of the podcast, and we will be doing another 561 Music Festival. It's I believe the target is somewhere in April, and we'll release that at some point, and once we get all the details and everything locked in. But we are actively working on it as of right now. We're starting to look at the roster and try to figure out bands. We're trying to figure out. There's a few things that might be a little bit different this year. That might be that I think are going to be better. Once that all gets locked in and everything, we will let the fans know. But we'll start getting some details here hopefully in the next couple of weeks and start locking in some bands and start announcing some stuff.
I'm excited, man. We got to get you guys on it.
Dude,
That'd
I'm
be awesome.
stoked,
Yes,
man.
please.
Yeah, I was.
Just let us know.
I kept. Dude, I listen to you guys. I watch you guys stuff all the time, and I love how like you guys just keep it alive. And you get to meet a lot of these bands. You see them at a show, and you hang out with them for a little bit, but you don't get to learn like the depths of them. So every time like I play with a band and I see they're on your guys' stuff, I'm like, oh shit, like we know these dudes. Let me know what they're all about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what? That's what the main reason I love doing this, just because of all the people you spend an hour talking to a group of people, you
Yeah.
kind of get to know them.
Like you
it's
care.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Well, that and you know, I was fortunate enough that I had the night off. My son's band, Young Fiction, was playing with you
Which,
guys.
by
at
the way,
this.
they're fucking sick.
Yeah, I
dude.
love them.
Right.
Dude. They love them. I, you know, I have to say that because I'm contractually obligated. Because it's my son. But in all reality, if he wasn't my son or he wasn't in the band or whatever, which I don't know, he might not be my son. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole other story, another podcast. I
Here's Gavin, my son,
yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, I love their stuff, man. It's so like it's well written and it's fun and it's catchy and it's like
Yeah, man.
commercially like I could hear it like something that would be on the radio, but. You know, I was fortunate enough to catch you guys because I was at that show watching them and stuff, and I was hanging out for pretty much the whole show. But seeing you guys perform here and stuff, like that's my guilty pleasure of the podcast is like we're playing all the time, so we don't get out as much as we'd like to see bands. You know, there's all these bands I would like to see that I just don't get a chance to see very often. So to have them come in here, get to know them, and have a little private performance, I'm like, I'm all about it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Wicked. Well, all right. Thank you so much for coming in, and I'll hopefully come to see you guys soon. Hopefully that Guttermouth show.
September
Yeah,
21st. That's my
yeah,
plug.
yeah.
Should I
Next
do the-
Thursday.
That's a plug-in. September 21st, man. Guttermouth, Billy Doom, 1983, Young Cassidy. It's going to be a fun show. I'm going to have a wireless mic, so don't be scared.
Okay.
We're good to go.
That's a Thursday?
It's
Yeah.
a Thursday,
Oh,
dude.
hell
but
yeah. I might be off that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm serious, dude. Let us know. I got y'all tickets for sure.
Oh, dude, that's
Ah,
awesome, man.
sick.
Yeah, awesome. Man.
All right. Well, peace
Cool,
out.
man. Peace out.
ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you guys.